Welcome to EFT MBA Mastering Business Acumen with the help of EFT business experts. Learn the marketing, mindset, and skill set you need to create the EFT coaching practice of your dreams. Visit www.eftmba.com for more information. And now, here's the EFT training team that embodies the art and science of EFT. Alina Frank and Dr. Craig Weiner.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show today. I want to give out some numbers because this is a live call, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you have for us. To call in, the number is, I got something blocking that number. Okay. It's 347-215-6833. That's 347-215-6833. And once you're there, you can raise your hand by hitting the number 1, and we'll know that you're in there asking a question. You can also engage with us on our website. If you go to EFTtappingtraining.com and go to the very bottom, click on audios, and there you will see the name of the show, Designing Your EFT Practice and Practicing Your Design. You click on that and you will see that we are live on Facebook there as well. So you can ask a question and we will be moderating that chat box. If you have a question and you want to ask it there as well, we'll be happy to answer. So today's show, Designing Your EFT Practice and Practicing Your Design. Your EFT business is designed by you consciously or unconsciously. In our experience with hundreds of practitioners, personal healing and a vision to make a difference is what inspires most people to get into this business in the first place. I know that's how I started. I know that's how Craig started. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, why else would you get into this? So, but without certain elements, that, you know, a practice just can't gain the kind of momentum it needs to flourish. And this show is going to focus on 3 essential things that an EFT practitioner needs to know about to accelerate from the onset of a practice or to reset a struggling coaching practice. Without these pieces,
it's not for lack of effort or trying. You know, that's really important because we see so many practitioners that are trying hard. They're working through blocks. They're putting a lot of energy and time and effort and money. So it's not that there's not commitment, and it's not that there's not effort and energy being put into it.
Right.
You know,
and sometimes the fact that there is too much emphasis focused on the energy could be a problem. It also could be, and we will cover it on this show, and I know we touched on it in the past, of where there isn't enough effort. But before the effort part, like we know, because we are in the business of EFT, that EFT is all about energy and energy blockages and zits, and that occurs first, and then the negative emotions that follow will eventually represent and compound and then show up as physical manifestations of symptoms, disease, for example, weight, addictions, and all of that. So why don't we tend to design our lives and our practices in the same way, in a conscious way, in a designing way? So things like organizational development and design, permaculture, organic living systems series. So all of these are ways that people step back, take a big picture, and start to design and how it's connected to everything else. And you know, if you don't start there, you know, you're likely to bump up against some problems, right, Craig?
Yeah, I love the permaculture example that you just used. And for those people that aren't aware, you know, some people know the word, but really what it includes is the idea of when I'm creating a landscape, a garden, a natural outflow, what is happening? How is the shade of the plants affecting the other plants? How is the water usage affecting the other ones? How does energetically, water, the environment, all the different pieces connect in an environment in which all the pieces serve each other. There's a consciousness in the design that goes into it that creates incredible efficiency, minimum use of resources with maximal results, and it's a perfect example of how we're looking at our practice. How do I get the most bang for my buck for the energy and time and effort I put into it? And how do all the different pieces connect and how do they affect not just my work, but how is that affecting my personal life, my relationships, my spiritual sense of well-being, my physical well-being? So often we get so focused in the work and the practice being singular that we don't often see the interconnectedness. So that's a great example, Elena.
Well, it's something that that I realize that people just don't take the time to do because they want to be doing the work. Everybody wants to be doing the work. Everyone, I hear from new coaches all the time, I feel more alive and I feel like I'm doing something with my life and it's given my life meaning and purpose, and I love it when I'm doing EFT sessions with people.
Right.
And so the focus then becomes so much on, this is what I want to be doing, or how can I be doing more of this, and doing the outer work, the sort of marketing and promoting and telling people and all of that, that they don't create the bigger vision. They don't spend time planning what this is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't build
that energetic thing we were talking about, right?
Yeah. So it's the difference between building a house just because, let's see, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to go to the library and I'm going to take some courses and spend a lot of time, energy, and sometimes years figuring out how I'm going to build this house, versus sitting down with someone who can help you and come up with a design. I actually know somebody that did that a few years ago here on Whidbey Island. I know some people that actually wanted to figure out how to build a house, and they would contract for some of the different pieces, but they really wanted to know how to do the whole thing. And they took a course. They went to Vermont, and they spent, they would go out there a few times a year with this group that helped them come up with a design on their own. So I think we all need the plan. We need a plan, and that's the number one thing we're trying to tell you here is you need to design your practice, or it's going to just happen haphazardly, and we don't want that because.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I think the analogy is a good one, as if, I know I need 3 bedrooms, so I start building the 3 bedrooms. And then I think, we need 2 baths. So now I start adding on the bath, and I realize that I've already taken up the space for the bath here, so I've got to add it over here. So now I start adding another room. So, any of us would think that's ridiculous to start building a house without having the plan for the whole big picture.
Right.
Right? And that's like starting the practice, getting trained, starting to see people, and now I add one more, and now I try this, and now I have it, and I'm so full and overwhelmed with the building and the getting rid of the wood and the ordering the parts and the building that I'm not able to step back with that big picture in mind. And that's really what we're talking about. Whether you're working with a permaculture design, architecture of a house, a blueprint for your landscape, whatever it is, the first and most important part of the creation of something that you want that's going to bring you joy and satisfaction and thriving and financial abundance and all those things is to be able to stop first and design what is going to bring those things to me. What do I need to have in place here for me to be thriving financially, physically, spiritually, emotionally? What has to go into place in that design?
Mhm.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure. So let's give people some idea of how we do this. We do this in a very systematic way in the MBA program. What do you suggest that we give these folks that are listening to us some suggestions of how they can do this?
Well, I think first, whether you're doing this by yourself, some people work differently, right? So some people can literally just sit and do kind of a visioneering meditation, and they can see and feel, oh, I can see that it's going to look like this, and I can see that I'm going to be in an office, and I could picture the community that I want my practice in, and I could, and they're really very visual and intuitive that way. And that doesn't work for everybody. For me, that doesn't work so well. So, for example, writing a story or journaling it, might be, I know these are things that have to be in place because these are like the essential pieces that I have to be happy. And these are more the pieces, and it's funny because I used to give this exercise for people looking for relationships. What are the essential things you have to be happy with the result here? And then next, list the things that, these would be really great, and I would be really happy if I had them in, but they're not deal breakers. And then the third group of things would be, this would be unbelievably amazing. I'm not attached to it, but wow, if this happened too. But however you do it, journaling, getting out big butcher block paper, or maybe it's with another person that you have a listening buddy that just reflects back to you what they're hearing without adding a lot of their own ideas or a lot of methods for doing it. Vision boards.
And vision boarding.
Way. Go ahead.
Yeah,
vision boarding is another way of starting to create and get ideas for what it looks like. But the ideas that you want to look at is, of course, who are the clients that most intrigue and excite you? What issues, what types of people do you want to be working with? You're going to be seeing a lot of them. They're going to be a big part of your day and your life. And if you're not clear on what types and what subjects that you love to work with, that's really important. We've talked about niche a lot before already. But also, you get to I was just working with a client recently that had let go of a previous profession and was starting fresh with a brand new slate with her EFT practice, and she really got in the conversation. I get to dream this into reality. What does it look like? I don't have a boss here. I'm designing my hours. I'm designing how many days a week do I want to work, how many hours a day, and what time of day do I want to work. Am I a better morning person and I really want to work from like 7 to 2 and then be done? Or really I like my mornings for my personal time and I don't really want to start working with a client till 10 o'clock and I don't mind working into the evening. So your hours, your days, how many clients in a day or a week do you really see as ideal? Do you picture yourself working at a home office? Do you like the idea of getting outside of your home and separating your work and being in an office, being in a healthcare office, being in a group with other practitioners, right? Those are different. Do you wish to be working in person only? That's the kind of practice is one-on-one. Do you love to work with groups, and do you want to be setting up meetup or other kinds of groups that are doing group tapping? Do you love the idea of working on the phone and being able to, or Skype, and being able to work around the world with people from different countries and different cultures and expanding your practice? All of those are just, some of the very beginning questions in the MBA that we look at to go, what are the different things that really turn you on and excite you that you want to be in your dream practice, right? Any other ones you want to add? Any other thoughts?
I just love the idea of just having this as a starting point for you, but also we're going to go on to next on if you already have a practice that you've maybe less consciously designed. It just kind of happened, right? You're seeing a couple of clients a week and you're stumbling around. I would say it's important for you to still step back and see what it is that's working and what isn't working. Who are the people that you're already seeing that fill you with joy and excitement and enthusiasm? Who are the ones that are draining you, and learn why? And I'm just going to make a side note here. Many coaches tell me that, yes, indeed, they find that some people are very, very, that there's something about a particular personality type that bothers them. They don't like working with them. I say absolutely you get to choose who you get to work with, but explore with someone else why that is happening, because it actually could be a reflection of something that's unhealed in you that you need to work through, and suddenly it becomes your greatest gift. It becomes the greatest joy to work with this person once you have dissolved what it is that's getting in the way. So don't just brush it aside and say, no, I don't want to work with these people ever. Ask yourself why, and more importantly, find someone to guide you through that process, because most of the time it's hard for us to see it ourselves.
Yeah, no, that's very, very relevant. And when you get that clarity and you're working with who you love to be working with. What I really find, and just over and over, is when coaches have that kind of focus, then all the things that they're doing and pouring energy into, their writing, their posts, all the doing stuff, their marketing and their ways, gets very easy and focused because they're in that flow of the passion of the subject matter of what they're doing, whereas when they're not focused, it looks like overwhelm. It looks like so many things to do. I need to post, I need to write, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to meet with that. And it's just wide that when people are focused and they're in that flow of what they're loving, what they're doing, and the niche that they're working, and in the community that they're working, that all those things that seem wide and overwhelming become very focused and easy and a natural next step. And it actually, I can just feel the deep breath and the sigh that happens when you don't feel like you have to do a million things because you're focused on what you're loving, what you're doing. It just is what comes naturally and next. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, so what's
okay.
So what's next? Number 2, what's next?
What's next? Sure. So the second thing, all right, so the next thing that we wanted to cover is, let's just say that you've created this vision or you've redesigned your vision, right? You've, like Disney, you've imagineered it, you've created it, you're implementing it, and you have this focus and you have all these things you're creating. Now, when you start that, that's great. However, it starts to fade. It starts to get all fuzzy in your head. My question to you is, how do you continue to recreate that and keep that vibration, that frequency, that focus alive? Right? So how many people said it, perfect examples is, all right, you went on a diet, you went on whatever program you went on to get fit, to lose weight, and you did it. It lasted, it was a detox program. It was 2 weeks. It was 4 weeks. It was whatever it was. We know that if we rely on that alone, that the likelihood of it continuing the same results happening fade dramatically. Statistically, it's almost assured. So the question is that how do we keep that alive? What sort of practice? What sort of maintenance? If we created goals at the beginning of the year on January 1, do we only revisit them on January 1 of the next year, and they just get lost and stuffed in the drawer?
Right.
So that's a really good question. What would you suggest as far as ways to help to keep people focused and keeping those that vision alive for them?
Well, I mean, some of the things that we do, we meditate daily, and so that's a way to keep the focus pretty alive. I also have some visual cues set up around my office. There's a very important print that I've had for the last 10 years, and good manifestation story around that one. It's a very obscure little print that I printed off of my 3 or 4 computers ago, and I've carried it around. I lost the original file. I don't know who the artist is. It's about a person creating their own reality and their own destiny and taking a leap of faith. It's a beautiful picture. And so I started playing around with, show me signs that I'm on the right path, and I want to see a sign every day. And that's another way that you can do this. And just trust that you are going to get some evidence throughout your day that you're on the right track, or get evidence that you need to switch gears in some way. And so we are walking around. I give a presentation. We're walking around an outdoor mall area. We walk into a gallery, and there, huge, is a poster of this print, of this image that I haven't seen anywhere else in 10 years. And there it is, huge, blown up, and it was perfect. So ask for those signs. Keep asking daily. Set your intention. Start out the morning. Do some morning tapping and say, okay, show me a sign. Show me a sign that I'm in alignment with my practice, that the vision that I hold for what I am going to be doing and the mission that I have is actually becoming manifest.
Yeah, and that's perfect, and that was a great story. And the one that I'm working on currently is I may set a very strong intention in the morning, and then once I get going, I tell you, I don't stop typically for quite a while because I've got a million projects to be doing. And my conscious mind thinks that's most important.
Right.
It does. It continually tries to convince me to keep going, keep doing this, finish writing that. You need to complete that project and then open that one and write that. So my conscious mind says that doing is better.
Right.
And the continual learning for me is I know how powerful my day has been and how many times I've stopped consciously and say, take a deep breath, pause. Are you on track? Is this where you should be putting your energy right now? And those pauses during the day of reimagining, reconnecting with my vision, I know in my soul on the deepest level that is the most powerful use of my time to make sure that I do that frequently for the day. So there's still like this kind of like devil-angel struggle back and forth in my brain about that. But that to me is one way that I know how on track I am energetically, is how often that I stop during the day to do that.
Right. And if you stop during the day to do that and the thoughts aren't positive, aren't exciting, aren't stimulating, aren't energizing, guess what? You need to be tapping on that. Right. Exactly. You need to shift out of that.
Right. Number 3.
All right, so,
you want to take on
number 3? Yeah. So this is what I call shedding some light on your blind spots. So often I work with EFT coaches who say they aren't making enough money or they aren't getting enough clients. And there is some ways that you can look at that very differently. For instance, if you're charging a lot of money, then you need less clients, right? But really, when we looked at numbers, Craig and I did some looking around and investigating, and it looks like the number that is most reliable is something like the median salary for coaches is about $28,000 a year. Now, I don't know about you, but if you live in a metropolitan area somewhere in the United States, somewhat close to a city, $28,000 a year is not enough. You're below the poverty line, especially if you have children that you're supporting. So when I have clients that say, "Oh, they're just surviving, they're not making enough. What's going on?" I do a business review for some of these folks, and that's when I do that for my VIP MBA students. So I look at the website, I look at the marketing material, I look for certain things like a marketing funnel. Are these things pretty clear? They're clear on the website. They're clear on the marketing material. How are these coaches spending their time? And one of the problems that I consistently see is blind spots. So these are things that you don't see in yourself. Maybe the headshot doesn't really bring out your brilliance of who you really are. In fact, I've seen some headshots out there that are not flattering at all, and I wonder why people would have such an image if it conveys that you're lazy or you're sloppy or that you don't care that much to present a very professional image on your website. So that's just a minor thing. But some other things that I see is maybe that their message isn't very clear. It's not very clear at all. And so instead of placing ads in papers that don't work or spending money on an office space where that might not be the best way that you should spend your resources, spend it on a program or a coach that can help you see what's off, just like you do with your own clients doing EFT sessions. Right. You know that's the value of having a person work with you, is that they point out the blind spots. They see those things that you don't necessarily see on your own. And so when you are practicing your design, know that sometimes you really do, all of us do, need outside help. And we were talking about this last night, Craig, between, having a...
We were. It was just also one, we had I forget even what program it was, but we had actually used a copywriter for something to just help just tighten up some of the vocabulary we were using and just some of the ways to make it flow smoother. And I tell you, every time that I use some sort of person that I respect that brings expertise on a subject matter, part of me is like, oh, my God, why did I wait so long to do that?
Right.
And in EFT coaching, and just working with our MBA students, spending a few hours this last week with several of them, I just know the amount of information that we were able to cover, and I was able to reflect ideas, and the amount of enthusiasm and insight that was able to be honed in that hour was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That outside reflection of what you don't see, what you don't know, is just, it's always profound, and it always moves me to, I could have had a V8 kind of moment, right?
Right, exactly. Well, we want to thank you for joining us today. We want to also let you know that we're going to be in New York City at towards the end of November with our Money Mastery EFT 2-day live workshop. It's my favorite time of year to be in New York City. It's just they're starting. All the windows are with beautiful holiday decorations, and there's just a Christmas in the air, and roasted chestnuts on the street corners. It is by far the best time to be in New York City. So, and people that are part of our EFT MBA program get to attend the money courses for free, because we really feel that unless you nail the money issues, you also are going to come up against some big challenges in your practice. And so we hope you check that out. The early bird special for the New York City Money Mastery program ends tomorrow. So go on our website and check that out. And until we see you again, remember to keep on tapping.
Bye-bye.
You have been listening to EFT MBA with Elena Frank and Dr. Craig Weiner. To get your free report on the 5 secrets to create a rockin' EFT practice and to learn more about the EFT MBA program, visit www.eftmba.com.